and welcome to the third part in our series of mapping for Elite Force RPGX. During this session we're going to look at how to create doors, how to use the function box, and how to light your maps. So let's get started, and I have here a basic room divided in half with a wall with a hole in it, and we're going to put a door here. One that you walk up to and it swooshes open in two parts. So let's get going by going in and drawing the bit we want. It can be difficult to get them the right size, but you can copy and paste and then you can position them and take out the difference so you can get doors the right size. Now, I'm going to just work some magic on these so you can actually tell the two doors apart. This trick will be covered in a later tutorial. So, there's my doors. But if we went up to them now, they wouldn't do anything. They are solid. They're just like a wall. So, we need to turn them into doors one at a time. Otherwise, they're sort of grouped together and you can actually edit the individual size to go in different directions. So we can click on one. We want to right click, go to function and then door. When we hit escape, you'll see that it is now turned blue. This means it's now a function. So if we went up to that, it would do something. Not quite sure what, because we haven't actually told it what it needs to do. So let's quickly do the other half. And there we have them. So we want to tell them which direction to move. So let's start with the first one, which we want to go downwards. So we can press N to bring up the property box and very quickly put in the angle. Now, these angles all reflect which way it goes on a map. So to make it go downwards is 270. So we can just press 270, done. And close that, deselect, and do the same with the other door. So now if you added a spawn point and compiled the map, you could go up to that and the doors would open. There are other things you can also do with doors. So, in typical fashion, here's one I made earlier. Whee! Same doors, but this time, bringing up the property box again, you can see they've been allocated to a team. When two doors are in a team, that means they will open and close simultaneously. So you don't get sort of mismatched. One half opens, then a little later the other half opens, and vice versa. You can also set the speed. That is how fast they open or close. The typical one for RP maps is 30. You can also add sounds. These paths go into your sound folder, which we covered in the very first part of this series. And that is basically it for making a door and adding some special bits to it. So let's move on to something a bit more advanced with the doors. And we can do this by pressing N again and changing some of these things. For example, if I change angle to -1, instead of going to a side, it will actually go up. This is how you could create something like a blast door or something in a similar vein. You can also use them if you work in a special way to create lifts. So that is a rather cool thing. That is basically it for advanced doors. That is a very efficient blast door that uses only one entity. There are, of course, other ways to make a glass door that goes up and down using movers. However, they use additional entities, which when you're making a big map, you want to try and conserve as much as possible. So that is doors done and dusted now. So let's move on to lights. And again, here's one I made earlier. Whee! Now I have here 3 lights. As you can see, they're different colours. And when you compile this with light, you'd actually see this one glows this area blue, this one glows red, and this one glows yellow. Now you don't actually see these points of light. They are the sources, they're invisible. But you will see the effect they have on the walls and any objects in the room, in their range. And they do have ranges. This one is a range of 50, and you can see it's quite small. This one is 100. While this one is 200. You can also see how they affect. It's this inner one you want to pay most attention to, because that is where the light is at its brightest. But how do you create a light? Well, it's pretty straightforward. When you right click, you have this option for light. So you can just click that. It gives you an option for how bright you want it to be. In this case, the default's 100, which we can just press OK. And we can see our light is right there. If we wanted to change the colour of the light, we can press K, which brings up this colour panel. So let's say I wanted a green light. I can just select the colour I want, or use the eyedropper, or type in all the values. It's really up to you. Press OK, and there is my green light. But I've just compiled the map, and it's too bright. How could I change it? Very simple. You select it, press N, and you will see there's a property called light, which you can change to whatever you like. 75, 50, maybe even 10 if you're trying to light a very small item. And there you have it. Doors, the property box, and lights. And going back to the property box, these are all the different properties, and you can actually read up on what properties you can put in inside the help boxes. You put them in, and there you are. You can also delete ones using delete pair. So that's it for part 3. In the next part, we will be looking at how to create curves, multi-sided shapes other than your standard 4, sorry, and how to do angles with various shapes. So stay tuned for more fun.